Everyone, this is John Lee, your local real estate agent here in the greater Philadelphia area. I'm here with Alex Posmontier. I've known Alex since we were little, and it's good and great to reconnect with him. So, for our audience, Alex, tell me about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Thanks for having me, John.
Of course.
Um, I wear a few hats these days. I'm a musician, um, an educator, and more recently a computer repair guy. So I've been a full-time musician for the last 5, 6 years. But before that, I actually had a tech job. But we'll talk about that, I think, in a bit. But at this point, yeah, I'm teaching piano. I am performing on piano around the Philly area, and am also helping people with technology issues.
Mhm. I mean, everyone from Cheltenham High School would know you as the guy that played or always played the piano, right? Uh, I would like to think that every chance or opportunity you had, you definitely played, and even me remembering all the way back to like middle school, you're always some form of yeah, you're always in some kind of you're a musician, you're always in the music field. So,
Yeah,
uh, to get into the next question, tell me how you grew up from loving music so much as a child to now.
sure. So it's an interesting story. My my dad and my uncle are both full-time musicians. So I grew up in that world, seeing what they did every day. And I remember being a kid and really not having much interest in being a musician
Right.
because I saw the schedule. They worked nights and weekends, and the work was not guaranteed. It was not a paycheck. So when I was in high school and even college, that was not the plan. Um, I was always a musician, like you said. I mean, back as far as elementary school, I was singing, and then in middle school, playing at school functions. Had my first band, um, and we played through high school, and I sang in high school, and so I was very musically involved through college as well. But in college, I had planned to study math, and then that changed into computer science. And so I graduated with a computer science degree along with a music degree. I ended up double majoring at Gettysburg College and got a job right out of college doing IT work. So I was like a back end kind of programmer for a big bank, Vanguard,
Mm.
and had a great time there for a few years, but was not feeling fulfilled and started asking friends who had gone into the music field about what they were doing and just trying to think about if maybe I could get into the music field or if I could somehow combine music and technology into a job. And, I interviewed friends who were um, librarians, or I guess she's a librarian at the Library of Congress doing music. And I have friends that have PhDs in music, friends that are doing band, high school band, school teachers. Anyway, none of it really rang for me. I just, the only thing I really saw myself doing was just performing. So I started teaching too, just off kind of on a whim. One of my friends reached out asking if my dad would teach him piano. And it's a friend that you might know, Josh McHugh from Cheltenham High,
Yeah.
a year younger.
Hmm.
And I said, sure, my dad teaches, but maybe I could try teaching you. And he said, okay. And so while I was still working at Vanguard, I started teaching Josh, and I really liked it. And so that started the whole teaching business, which, I had one student back in 2014, and then by 2017, after I had left Vanguard, I had 50
Oh,
students.
geez.
Yeah, so it really blew up.
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm around 25.
Okay.
which is pretty manageable.
Yeah.
So finding my love of teaching really was a deal breaker. Like it made leaving Vanguard to be a full-time musician more doable
Right.
because just performing is a really hard life. So teaching allowed me to have more of a regular schedule and have some um, expected income.
Right.
And so I've been doing that since 2016. And then COVID kind of shook everything up and has made me more of a teacher than a performer, although the performing is coming back slowly. But it was pretty much shut down for about a year, year and a half. And then most recently, this year, I started a technology company. So
Right.
now I'm also doing that, helping people with a wide variety of tech issues, mostly in their houses, but hoping to branch out to small businesses at some point. So it's been really rewarding, kind of juggling a few different things right now.
Yeah, Alex, it's awesome that you're obviously wearing different hats and you're doing different things, which is awesome. And this is why I love interviewing Cheltenham grads because I just one obviously want to catch up with them, but also two, I think every one of us has like some interesting story that they definitely can share. In your perspective, if you had it your way, right? What would you say would be something that you would love to do every single day? Would it be, fixing computers? Would it be music? Would it be teaching? Like, what out of those three, what would you want to do every
That's a
single
great
day?
question. What
Yeah,
would I want to do every day?
yeah.
And I think the answer is a mix of them.
Okay.
I have lived the life where I was doing technology every day for 5 years. I have now lived the life of teaching every day for about 6 years. And I'm just finding I really enjoy doing something for a few days, then doing something else for a few days, like kind of
Hmm.
like a real varied freelance lifestyle. And I
Hmm.
so I don't think I would pick one of the three and just do it 100%. Um, I really like to just be switching between things every few days. I think my ideal schedule might be to teach 3 days out of the week, do computers 2 or 3 days out of the week, and then a couple times a month perform in something that I'm very passionate about, that I want to work towards. Maybe that's performing original music, um, performing for an audience that's listening, because I've done a lot of performing in restaurants where nobody's listening. I've been doing that for years. So, kind of trying to pivot a little bit to do
Yeah.
more meaningful work. So I do really like the balance and the variety of doing music and technology. And, those are like my two most, I guess, the two things I'm most passionate about,
Yeah.
music, which includes teaching, and technology. I mean, it's all kind of teaching and coaching and helping um, between the music and the tech. So
I mean, bro, at the end of the day, I'm so happy for you only
thanks.
because I still remember like I'm not sure if this was middle school or grade school, but you and your dad would come, or at least your dad, right? And maybe it was your uncle. Did he played like the guitar? Like,
My Just probably my dad because my
yeah,
uncle played drums.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was either your uncle or your dad, I'm not sure, but like your family came and there's been several instances where they did perform, right? Am
Yeah.
I okay, all right. I just want to make sure because
It might have been in Elkins Park. It might have been EP or Cedarbrook when they came and did like an assembly.
yeah, yeah. They definitely did an assembly, and then there was like maybe one or two instances where you actually got up
Hmm.
and you performed with them. So me observing that, I always knew like, man, that guy has a future. So so
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to follow your passions, bro. I'm super happy for you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we'll pivot to the next question. Um, so, well, we briefly did mention how you got into the business, but in detail, or more specific, if there's any memory of how you specifically had that aha moment. Maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be with music, but let's just say if it was for, fixing computers or something like that, your business that you're doing with that, what was your aha moment for that?
Sure. I'll do the tech one first, and then I do have an aha moment for the music actually.
Okay.
More recently with the tech, it was kind of, hey, I've been doing this stuff one for my family for free forever. Every time I'm over there, and you may relate.
Yeah.
Every time I'm over there, there's three or four questions.
Yeah.
Hey, could you fix this while you're here? And and it's never that hard. And so I was thinking, wait, I could help people. I could help a lot of people doing this kind of thing,
Hmm.
and make a business out of it. So that was kind of the moment for that. It was like, hey, I'm already doing this. Um, for the music, I was actually in the tech job, in my corporate job, and I got involved in a singing group um, that had existed for a number of years, and they primarily would sing Irish folk songs every year around St. Patrick's Day, and they would perform them, in the cafeteria in a couple of the buildings. So when they found out that I was a musician, this is probably a year after I joined the company, so right after college, they found out I was a musician and kind of drafted me. I didn't really have a choice. They said, you're joining the group, you're gonna lead us. You know, they had a little keyboard. They're like, you're gonna run rehearsals, and I was thrilled. And we would do once a week on Wednesdays at lunch, and I would just find myself coming back from the rehearsal just like lit up and like happy and smiling, and then I get back to my desk, and it would just kind of be like, oh man,
Yeah.
back to this, back to work. And so like I did that for a couple of years, and it just after enough time, it was like, wait, like the only time that I'm like truly enjoying myself and like I'm happy is like right after these, well, during and right after these rehearsals. It's
Right.
like I gotta bring music into my life somehow. And that was when I started to, interview friends and eventually land on teaching and performing. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I would have arrived at that had I not joined that group. Um, and I'm still in touch with many of those people. And it's kind of come full circle because now some of those people are retiring and are calling me for tech help, people that I knew
Right.
from Vanguard.
Right. Right.
So it's just a cool way that it's come full circle.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and also for our listeners, how did you and I meet?
So we met at Myers Elementary School going way back, and we played baseball, Little League together.
Let's
My first
go.
year, Old York Road Little League.
Yeah, yeah,
My first year was fourth grade. I think you were also in Old York Road fourth grade. Yeah, I mean, I only
yeah,
played fourth to sixth, so I was
yeah,
there 3 years.
yeah,
And we played. Yeah, we were on the same team, I think.
yeah. We were.
And I have very few memories of that. The only real memory I have is breaking my elbow in the middle of a game pitching.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember you getting hurt, but I do remember you. Like, I don't remember that specific incident of you getting hurt. All I remember is you disappeared. I was like,
Yeah.
what happened? Like, he completely stopped playing. And here's my memory. This is a fun fact for our listeners. Alex was like, though fast, like I kid you not, you probably threw at least 60s, like in the 60s.
I did throw in the 60s.
Yeah, at that age. So there
Yeah.
were very few people that wanted to catch your fastball. And I was the only one that was like, all right, I'm just gonna be the catcher. Like
And you did. I hope I didn't
yeah.
hurt your hands.
Dude, it was it like I mean it was manageable for me because I started playing like travel baseball and stuff. So seeing that speed is not uncommon.
Right.
But in Little League, like you're like Nolan Ryan, you're like you're literally like striking everybody out. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it was fun
yeah.
for anybody out there listening that either pitches or has kids doing this. Stretching is important and warming up is important
Mm,
because I threw so hard and I did not warm up properly, and
okay.
that led to my they call it Little League elbow, which is what happened.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
had a little growth plate break off my elbow,
Right.
and so the only way I could have continued was to have surgery.
Jeez.
And
Oh my
I
God.
was, I was 12 years old, and surgery sounded scary. I opted for a cast, and it healed up, but I couldn't go on to play baseball anymore. So
Yeah.
I took up tennis after that.
There you go.
Now that's my claim to fame, that I played tennis with Little Dicky, the rapper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You'll have to get him on one of these.
Yeah, dude, that's it. That's if he even wants to be on this
Yeah,
show where there's only, 12 people watching. So
right. Never know.
yeah. But bro, man, it was really good memories with you. I do
Yeah,
remember like, and you were tall and you were
yeah.
big, like for your size. Like I remember I was
So
like, yeah, you were throwing that ball like fast.
yeah,
Yeah, you had heat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't throw hard anymore. I can't. It still hurts. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, good times.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, pivoting back to your field and to your career, what is a common myth about your job or field of expertise?
I think a common myth about the freelance part of my job and gig workers in general is what kind of attitude we have, what kind of lifestyle we have to live. Like, I think that a lot of people think that gig workers and freelance workers are just laid back and they have like a really easy life. They just kind of go gig to gig, and work comes in or it doesn't, and it's just, I don't know, like more relaxed, I guess, than say an office job or a demanding job in finance or something. But I've done both, and I can say that the freelance world, the gig worker world, is a little. I'd say it's quite a bit more stressful,
Right,
because if you don't hustle, you can go months with no work. I mean, nothing coming in. So, that's part of why I have kind of diversified a bit. So I have regular income from piano students. So I'm not hunting for work as much. But I think people don't quite realize, like, it's pretty stressful, and that you have to really get ahead of it, and you have to really have be expanding your network and uh, getting those gigs, because they don't just fall in your lap.
right.
Um, so yeah, I think that's probably the big one that I would say about just being a freelance. Um, that's more the art side of things. Although with the tech company, it's kind of the same thing. I'm in the early stages there, so I'm
Right,
only getting maybe one call a week, and it's not a main source of income at this point. So
right.
it's okay, but eventually, I hope it will be. So have to put in a lot of work.
Yeah, like everyone has to understand at the end of the day, just like you, along with me and a lot of other people, it's the mindset of being an entrepreneur, right?
Hmm.
And going out there and getting your business, right?
Right.
So it's definitely it's the mindset that is required in the business. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, some people just don't look at it that way. So
Right.
I'm glad that you shared that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as mentors go, who has been your professional mentor?
So that's an easy one for me because I got lucky in that my father is a full-time musician.
Yep.
So, as long as I can remember, since I was doing paid gigs, probably the first paid gig I did was like seventh grade. But
Oh.
You know, asking my dad, hey, what should I charge for this? How do you negotiate a contract? Um, what's the going rate for this type of thing, for this type of thing? Like he's been doing it for like half a century, so or more at this point. So he's just a wealth of knowledge. And so I've, just many, many, many times call him, hey, I have a business question. Hey, or I mean, not just the business side, I have a music question, piano question,
Hmm.
and he's just always there. So he's definitely been my mentor with the music business, and my other uncle is a computer guy, and he has a computer repair business. So I've been the last 6 months or so leaning on
Picking
him
his,
there.
yeah, picking his brain on that.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah,
mentoring me a bit there. So it's really cool just to have that knowledge passed down from generation to the next.
right.
And I feel like I'm following a bit in both of their steps. It's kind of no surprise that I ended up doing what I'm doing.
Nice. So the next question I have, it's a two-part question. They kind of come hand in hand. What is an insult you received that you're proud of? And what do people misunderstand about you the most? You can either answer that kind of two in one, or you can answer that separately.
Okay. Yeah, I saw these. These are interesting questions. I think the an insult that I am proud of is you're too honest, you're too nice. Gotten that a lot, especially in running my business.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're too forgiving, you got to lay down the law. And yeah, to a certain extent you do. And I have a contract now that I have families sign so that I don't get taken advantage of. But I am nice and I will be a bit more flexible and forgiving than, larger organizations maybe that have
Hmm.
much more strict policies. So, if a family forgets about a lesson, it depends, I might be a bit nice and say, all right, we'll make it up. Whereas my policy might say, you know, no makeups if you forget or whatever. So I have been told I'm too nice and I'm too forgiving, but my mom is the same way. She's also a teacher. She runs her own business, and I have seen the fruits of that. When you're kind and you're honest, yeah, you might not, make the full, potential as far as income because you maybe refunded some people. But what you're doing is you're building, lasting relationships with people and you're building trust with your clients. I think that's those things that are just much more valuable in the long term.
Hmm.
So I take pride in that. Um, and then the other question was, what do people misunderstand about me? I think a couple of things like I'm taking this in a professional lens. Is that what you intended?
It doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
however you wanna look at it.
So I think two things. One, professional musicians need to practice. I think sometimes people throw things at me and expect me to just be able to turn it around
Mm,
immediately.
mm, mm.
So even though I've been playing piano for over 20 years and it's, my living, I still have to work. I still have to practice. I need time to prepare things. So being understanding of that. And then also this kind of goes back to the common myth that we spoke about. I think people misunderstand a little bit about what it takes to run a small business or a business in general, but to be a small business owner where I am my own social media expert, and I'm not an expert, but I have to be the social media expert, the accountant, I have to be the marketing person. You wear all the hats when you're your own business. It's one
Right.
person. I have my website, um, everything. So, people say, how much do you work? Yeah, I only teach 20 hours a week, but then, hey, I got to do 5 hours a month of accounting, I spend time marketing,
Yeah.
advertising. So yeah, like the actual work doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't think people always understand all of the time off the field type work. And I know you can relate to this.
Hmm.
Because like for realtors, like so much of what you do is like behind the scenes, like researching and
Hmm.
prepping for clients. And so, it definitely spans, many different industries, but I think anybody who's a small business owner can relate to that. And I just don't think a lot of people understand because I certainly didn't when I had my corporate job because you
Right.
don't worry about it. There's a whole team for each of those things I listed. You
Right.
just
Right.
show up and you do your little thing, you do your part, very specialized. And then, yeah, when I quit and started this, I had to kind of learn about all the other parts of it. So it's been a learning experience for sure.
No, that's awesome. Awesome to hear, especially with your character and your ethos. Like, same thing for me. I always believe, I mean, there's true level of empathy that I have for people, understanding their situation and hearing their stories, as you can tell with these kinds of meetings. Uh, I think sometimes it does uh, put me in a position where I have to make tough decisions from a financial standpoint, right? And I'm sure you could relate because you just explained it. That's definitely one that I can definitely like relate to. So there's so many other things as far as also being a business owner and wearing so many different hats. I even
Yeah,
for me now, like you're right. I think a lot of people see me on Instagram or whatever, social media posting like me being at someone's house
right.
or like showing a house or at a closing table. The reason I post those things is because those are the moments of time where I'm the happiest. Like it's that's why I like to work because of those things. It's all the things behind the scenes, like
Yeah,
making phone calls, adding people into my CRM, emailing, reminding myself that I need to call this person, that person. It's all those things that
right.
I'm working so hard to generate business. I guess that's the best way to put it. So
Yeah,
you make a good point. You make a good point.
cool. Thanks.
So to switch gears and really go into a little bit deeper about music, how do you encourage people who are into music to stick with it? So an example that I can give and I can think of out loud is musicians, right? I think a lot of musicians, they get a degree. I actually know several people, that get a degree in music. They work extremely hard in their craft and they get easily discouraged and they end up quitting, right? How do you, like, what do you say to these people? How do you encourage these people?
Sure. It's a great question. So it depends on where they are in their career. So if it's kids, I try to because I have a lot of kids that I teach that are elementary through high school, and I try to find things that they really enjoy. So if they want to play music from a movie or a video game, fine. Whatever's gonna light them up, whatever's gonna be really fun. It doesn't matter to me if they're doing strictly one genre or the other. So I try to find things that they're going to really enjoy. I also try to inspire by telling them about things that I've gotten to do as a musician. And for people who are older, because I have had some students who are adults and have music degrees, but have tech jobs. And I always am in the lessons saying, when are you going to quit? When are you going to quit? You can do it. I did it. So I guess one of the ways is using myself as an example. Hey,
Right.
6 years ago was in a cubicle, and now I'm, making my living from music. So you can do it.
Mm,
Um, it's it's less about raw talent. It's more about drive. It's more about getting creative and finding that niche spot in the market. There's so many people out there with different music tastes, and there's so many venues, ways to spread music now, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or live shows or Bandcamp. It goes on and on for ways to be heard. So it's a lot of it is drive. You have to really want it. And if you have the drive to practice, you can overcome any technical, hurdles. Like, you just have to practice. That's most of it. So, it's tough when people have families. It is harder to leave like a stable job and pursue something like music, because it is a hard life. There are not that many careers within music that are very, very stable, where you have a job with benefits. So you have to be okay with that. So yeah, I mean, if I have somebody who's discouraged, I try to just be supportive and use my story as an example for them. And also be realistic with them and tell them, like, you can do it, but it's hard. It's not going to be easy. If you're looking for an easy, cushy career or life, that's out there, but are you going to be fulfilled? Because I wouldn't trade this life now, what I'm doing, for a 9 to 5. It's just not worth it. I was so unfulfilled, and it's not to say it wasn't meaningful work, it just wasn't for me. So yeah, so I mean, managing expectations is important, and understanding what they're getting into. But I think ultimately it's worth it, but I'm biased. I come from a family of self-employed, everybody, my immediate family, everybody runs a business. So it's kind of what I'm used to, and I'm okay with it being a bit crazy, compared to the normal stable 9 to 5. So
right. Well, I'm assuming also most musicians go into that knowing that it potentially could be unstable, right? Like, they are literally following their passions, their dreams, their, whatever they're trying to aspire to be. But yeah, I mean, the other question I was thinking is, this is actually more for the parents with kids, and I know that you teach a lot of kids. How do you encourage a child to play an instrument and, quote unquote, make it fun? I think a good example that you gave was, if there was something that they saw from a movie, or if there was like a specific song or genre of music that they like, you try to make it fun that way. How else are you making it interesting for your students?
Sure. So yeah, that's the number one way, is finding music that they want to play. Because if you force them to play things that they have no interest in, chances are they're not going to last very long. So I learned that very early on in my teaching. Just, hey, what do you want to play? And, start from there. Eventually I can put in some of the classical and the jazz that I want, but you have to get your foot in the door with kids. It has to be fun for them. So that's one big thing. Also, making it fun by having games and introducing movement. So if you're teaching a kid rhythm, having them, dance or jump around or move around, because little kids especially have a lot of trouble sitting on a bench for 30 minutes straight. So let them move and get up and dance around, and teach them that way. So I think the big theme there is like teaching each child, in their style. So being aware that children learn differently, and because it's one-on-one, I can tailor that. It's not a classroom where I don't have that luxury. So figuring out how the kids like to learn, and then trying to tailor it to them.
Nice.
So that's been really helpful. I will say, if the child doesn't show any interest in an instrument, I don't think that it's useful to force it. Um, I think it's nice to like gently suggest different instruments, let them play, try different things. But if they show no interest, and some parents just want them to take piano because they just want them to take piano at age 4 or age 5, most of the time they're going to be done in a couple of years. They're just, they're not going to have any interest. So
Mm.
it's more about like, let the child lead you to what they want to do. So let them try a bunch of different instruments, and chances are they'll find one of them fun. I don't think it's necessary to start at 4 or 5 years old either, but let them explore. I think, it's all about what the child wants, or it should be.
Hmm. No, I like that approach because I could tell you right now, culturally, Koreans orchestra is filled.
Yeah.
Including myself. Dude, I had no business playing the cello, man. I've been playing that thing since fifth grade all the way to high school. And I was like, dude, I should have played that instrument.
Oh, I think that's a good age to start, though. You're like
Yeah.
9 or 10. Did you enjoy it?
Not really, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. It just came to a point where it was out of habit,
right,
going to classes and whatnot. And I did play piano too.
right.
So I was able to read notes on both sides, on the
That's
treble
great.
clef and bass. Uh,
That's
but
great.
but musically, I like that's not. I just feel like that wasn't what I was called to do. Like I wasn't called to take music, so
Sure.
the passion wasn't entirely there.
And that's
Uh,
okay. I
yeah.
think it's very useful that you had that experience,
Oh,
because
for sure.
you're musically literate and you can appreciate music in a different way. And so I think that it is important that everybody is exposed to music,
Exactly.
but I don't think the if the child is like miserable, I've had students where they are miserable, and it's not helping anybody to force them to do that for years and years.
Hmm.
If it's kind of like, this is okay, and you're not miserable, but you're not passionate, I think it can be beneficial for a few
Hmm.
years. I think and you could even switch between instruments. I think it's just good to have that exposure.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how it was for me. I was just kind of going through the motions because I was doing it for
Yeah.
so long
Yeah.
that I didn't mind it.
Right.
But yeah, definitely like a great experience. I can't
Yeah.
deny can't deny that.
Cello is beautiful. It's like one of my favorite instruments.
Yeah,
Good
it's
for
good.
you.
It's a
Yeah.
great instrument for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Alex, wrap it up with these last two questions. The second to last question we have here is what are you looking for to make your job easier? I know a common answer would be to, I don't know, make a lot of money, right? But if you could fill a specific role, make a purchase, an acquisition, what is one thing you would need help with?
I think I've got kind of two things in the works. One being kind of diversification of what I can do, what I can provide. So, you know, branching out into technology is
Hmm.
making my job a little bit easier. So I'm not going to rely completely on teaching or totally on performing. So being able to diversify a bit, and also just finding more projects that I really enjoy. So I have something coming up in March. That's a Thursday night in I think it's March 2nd with my dad. We're doing a two piano concert in Wilmington at the Delaware Art Museum,
Oh, nice.
and it's gonna be great. It's like we're gonna rehearse a bunch, and it's gonna be stuff that we want to play, and it'll be to an audience. And so doing more meaningful work like that just makes it fulfilling. I'm looking to do more of that as far as the performing. Like I said earlier, less of the just being in the corner in a restaurant with nobody listening.
Hmm.
So those are like two things that I'm kind of currently working towards to make my whole career a little bit easier and more enjoyable.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, in a perfect world, sure, make make all the all the money and open up a music school and you know have a big performance space and grand pianos, but one step at a time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. And to wrap it up, where can our listeners find you?
sure. So I have a fair amount of media on YouTube under my name, Alex Posmontier. I have a website, alexposmontier.com, with more videos and information. I have an album of original music on Spotify called Bridges, and I have another album on Bandcamp called Coast to Coast. That should be on Spotify soon as well. Um, so I think that's the main places. And then the tech company is posmontiertech.com.
Got it.
But and I have physical CDs. Turns out nobody buys them anymore. But I had like 500 of those made. So I have those. I'll have to send you one.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
for our listeners, I'll make sure I put all the links in the description below.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I've been enjoying seeing some of the other interviews with other classmates of ours, like Dr. Stephanie Sargent. That was so cool.
Oh yeah, it was actually Alex Ingram. Yeah,
Oh, but
yeah.
I saw Stephanie Sargent too.
Stephanie Sargent, I've talked to several
Oh, you
times.
didn't interview her yet?
I didn't interview. Maybe I should interview her though.
You should.
Yeah, she just got married, so for me, like getting in contact with her was a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
more difficult. But yeah, it was Alex. It was
Oh,
Alex.
cool. I've been
I
in touch with
also,
Alex too. She's doing incredible things.
yeah, she's killing it. She's killing it. And then prior to her, who else did I interview? Tom Sexton, my cross country coach. Great guy.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah, he was an English teacher. So a lot of the older grads would probably know who he is.
Hmm.
But
That's
dude,
great.
this is awesome, Alex. I'll have obviously all this posted shortly
Thanks,
and
man. Yeah.
love to connect with you again. All right.
Likewise. And I'll try to support your business however I can.
Oh,
Spread the word.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, of
All
course.
right. Take care.
Good to see you.